Greetings Cornerinos and welcome to a very special episode of Ian's VR Corner, because I'm not in my corner today. I'm not playing VR games. Instead, I'm sat in front of my my shelf of nostalgia, and I'm going to be talking about what I did last week. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen me posting some kind of teasy pictures of me exploring New York, going to the Ghostbusters building and checking out Times Square and pulling Gormless faces. But I didn't say why I was there because I was under embargo. That embargo lifted earlier this week. You may have already read my piece on Eurogamer about it, but I was there to visit the PlayStation VR Spring Showcase, where Sony were demonstrating 7 or 8 upcoming PlayStation VR games. And I pretty much got to go hands-on with all of them. So today's Ian's VR Corner is a bit of a preview episode. I'm going to go through each game I played in order, or maybe not in order, in whatever order I feel like, and I'm going to tell you what I thought of them and whether I think they'll be worth sticking in your headset when they come out later this year.
Tony's been approaching some of our people.
Alright, so the first game I checked out was the one I think I was most wanting to play, and that was Blood and Truth, which is kind of like a sequel or spiritual successor to London Heist. Now, the demo I played at the Spring Showcase was the tutorial level of the main game, so it wasn't set in, Gangsterland. I wasn't driving around London getting into shootouts with cockneys and geezers or anything. I was actually in some kind of unnamed Middle Eastern country. And it taught me the basics of movement, of weapons, of lockpicking and things like that, and basically took me through, beat by beat, a little miniature action movie. And it was a very good slice of the game to try, because I feel like, going from the trailers and stuff, Blood and Truth is aiming to be your very own interactive action movie.
Comms check.
Roger that. Weapon check.
Ammo good. Weapon good.
Safety off.
Always. Firm. Move.
So the demo starts with a bit of an interrogation. You're sat at a desk and you can't really do anything except for look at a folder, but you find out a little bit about your character, who's called Ryan Marks, and then it flashbacks to this Afghanistan level, and that's when things kind of took an unexpected turn for me, because what I didn't realise going into Blood and Truth was that it's not free move, it's kind of like teleportation, but you get teleported, you can teleport yourself to certain spots, so you're really following a narrative that the game wants you to follow. I think I went into it expecting that it was going to be a bit more of a free-form action game, but you press a button, teleport to a spot, press a button, teleport to a spot. There's no free move or anything like that, which initially disappointed me, but as the gameplay kind of evolved, I started to see why the developers had done this. Because you're not moving around using dual-wielding controllers and stuff, it gives you access to both hands. So there was a really cool moment right near the start where someone threw a grenade at me, and while I was shooting, I was able to catch the grenade with my other hand, and I felt like a freaking action hero champ. It was awesome, but there was still a little bit of disappointment in my mind that it wasn't, a proper free roam, free locomotion experience. There are points where the action speeds up. There's these bits called run and gun sections, where the camera kind of goes and you're just take along for the ride, and things whiz past you and you have to shoot guys on balconies and things. The demo culminated in a car chase. It was quite an extended car chase. I had some ammo in the glove box. I was continually reloading, shooting motorbikes and cars. It was quite thrilling. It looks really cool. It looks like a lot of hard work and a lot of budget has been put into the looks and things. If you were going in expecting a fully free-roamed experience, you may be a little bit disappointed. But I think it's the kind of game that once you get used to the movement control, because it's a bit like Bravo Team when you move, but it's so much more polished than Bravo Team. It didn't seem buggy in any way, and I'm looking forward to playing through the whole thing. I think because it seems to have a really strong story, a really good narrative running through it, I think that will help me forgive the fact that It doesn't give me too much freedom. But also, I was told by one of the developers that as the game progresses, because I was only on the tutorial level, as the game progresses, the places you do shootouts in get bigger, they get wider, you can do more strafing, there's more stuff to shoot. So hopefully, even though you're kind of on a fixed path, hopefully later levels will be big enough to make things feel a bit more organic, because there's nothing worse than being in VR but then feeling like you don't have as much freedom as you want to. So Blood and Truth may not be the free roam gangster extravaganza I was imagining in my head, but it still looks like it's going to be a really solid game, and I am definitely looking forward to playing through it on a future episode of Ian's VR Corner. Now, the next game I played was probably the one that blew me away the most in the entire Spring Showcase, and that was No Man's Sky Beyond VR. Now, No Man's Sky Beyond VR is a free update that's coming sometime in the summer to PlayStation VR and PC platforms, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It turns No Man's Sky into virtual reality. It puts you on the ground on these alien planets. It puts you in the cockpit of your spaceship as you're going light speed through the galaxies, and it was just jaw-dropping. Being on the surface of an alien planet and being able to explore is one of the joys of flat No Man's Sky, but being on an alien planet in VR, where you get the sense of scale, you get the sense of distance, you have 3D sounds of like weird aliens and winds and stuff rushing through your hair. It was honestly, I could have stayed there for ages. It really felt like a true space exploration game. There was this cool moment. Oh, I was being demoed the game by Sean Murray as well, so he gave me a perfect guided hand through the game. And at one point he said, walk over there to this hole in the ground, and there was this big cave system in the ground with this like opening, and I just stood above it and looked down. He was like, go down there, have a look. So I went down, teleported down, had a little mine of some stuff, and then I tested out the terrain editing gun, which lets you dig holes in the terrain, and it was amazing. Like, I was under the surface of an alien planet, and then suddenly I was digging through it, making a tunnel up, and then like the sky opens up as the hole reaches the top, and you know, you're back on the top of an alien world, and it's really hard to explain just how awesome it felt, feeling like you're actually exploring an alien world for the very first time. Then I wandered over to a base, because players can now construct their bases in No Man's Sky, and I had a little rustle around someone's base, and then I went up to my spaceship. Now the spaceship is where things maybe will come apart for people who aren't that confident with VR, because it's quite intense. Now, in front of you in the spaceship is a thruster and a joystick for, you know, adjusting your pitch and your roll. And you kind of virtually grab them with the move sticks and press like the move button, I think, or the trigger. You press one of them and then you grab hold of them. And then you kind of like do that, you act like you're pulling the levers, which felt a little bit weird to me because the levers in the cockpit are attached to the cockpit, but here my hands kind of going all over the place, so it felt like they were a little bit loose. But the thing that I think will affect a lot of new players, and maybe even some veteran players, was just how intense going from land to the spaceship was. It could be that I was just getting to grips with the floatiness of the controls and stuff, but even I felt a little bit like with it at points when I was trying to, you know, level the ship out a bit and stuff. But once I did have the hang of it and was jetting off into space and pressing a button to go into, you know, hyperspeed and seeing like Star Wars star lines going past me like hyperdrive, it was, you know, holy shit, I'm in No Man's Sky, flying through space. I can go anywhere I frickin' want. I can go and explore anywhere I want. I can go and shoot an alien in the face on an unnamed planet no one's ever visited. It was beautiful, it was exciting, it was awesome, like nothing I've ever played in VR before, just the sense of the scale, and I cannot wait to play more of it. If I had the chance, I would have stayed there and played a lot more. But unfortunately, I had to move on to another game. And yes, as you probably guessed from that footage, the next game I tried was Everybody's Golf VR, which was a little bit daunting for me because I've never played golf outside of Crazy Golf, and they just kind of, it was only a 2-hole demo, very short, but I was just kind of plonked into the game. I kind of expected to know what club does what and things. And I just ended up smacking the ball really hard into the trees for ages until a lovely developer kind of walked me through and gave me like some beginner's guide to it. And it turns out it's actually, when you know what you're doing, it's actually really easy. Everybody's Golf is super simple to pick up, and I guess that's why it's called Everybody's Golf, because everybody can play it. It looks really beautiful. The courses are nice and lush and vibrant and green. There's a caddy next to you who occasionally gives you like little tips about, you know, maybe which direction the wind's going and stuff. And the controlling is really, really easy. All you do is you hold the Move controller in both hands, just one Move controller in both hands, as if you were holding the grip on a club. The face buttons on the Move controller allow you to switch between whatever club you want in an instant, just boop, boop, boop through the clubs. And then you can do a few practice shots. Above the ball are a few indicators which show you the power of your swing, the wind direction and stuff, so you can check out those details, and you can do a few practice swings before pressing a button and activating the proper go and having a proper swing and hitting the ball down the fairway. Now, the first one I did, the first hole, I was terrible, but after the expert tuition from the developer, I actually did a birdie, which I believe is one shot under par for my second one. So yeah, I think it's going to be very easy to pick up. I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't any free move. Maybe it was restrictions to the demo or something, but whenever I hit a ball, it would tell me where it had gone, and then I would teleport instantly to that location to continue on with my shots. Kind of would have liked to have had a little stroll around, because it did look really beautiful, and I felt, you know, I wanted to feel a little bit more like I was inhabiting these golf courses rather than just being on a pretty driving range with, you know, changeable scenery. But yeah, it seems good. Anyone who loves golf will love Everybody's Gone Golf. Everybody's Gone Golf. Everybody's Gone Golf crazy. Everybody who loves golf will love Everybody's Golf, and everybody who hasn't played golf before or doesn't really like it in real life would probably enjoy it too, because it's just really pretty and chilled. Five Nights at Freddy's VR. Here we go. So all through the showcase, while I was playing other games, I would occasionally hear like a massive scream coming from the Five Nights at Freddy's stand, followed by like a ripple of laughter going around the room as people were like, ha ha, that person shit their pants. And, you know, it was obvious that people are going to have a lot of fun with Five Nights at Freddy's. People love being scared. People love watching other people, like streamers, be scared and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of fun had with Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted. But I'm not 100% sure that I had fun. And the reason I didn't really have much fun with it is because I think I'm done to death with the series. I know what to expect from most of it. I know what kind of jump scares are on the way. I know how to avoid them. But it's not just Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted is 40 games in one package, and I got to play 3 of them. The first time I played was Five Nights at Freddy's, the original one, and it was really cool sitting in that seat in the pizzeria security room in VR. It looks different to how I remember it from flat view. I think they've changed it up a little bit. For instance, you don't have to hold like an iPad thing in front of you for the security cameras. You don't bring that up anymore. Everything is either on the desk in front of you, so switching between the cameras is like using a Move controller to jab at big buttons on a control box to switch security cameras, and then you see it on a monitor in front of you, and then you've got door and light buttons to either side of you. So you're really looking around, turning your back on things gives you like a weird like tingle down the back of your spine that something's going to come up behind you. So that kind of stuff works in VR really well. And also the scale of stuff. There's points where Freddy's monster, the Freddy animatronics will like appear at a window next to you, and they tower over you. They're quite intimidating. And I could imagine people who've never played Five Nights at Freddy's before playing this in VR being absolutely terrified. The second game I played felt a bit more like a mini game than an actual full Five Nights at Freddy's game. What I had to do was I had to tune Bonnie's guitar. Bonnie's the big guitar playing rabbit. And to do that, it was kind of like a game of Operation, except for Operation was made by Jigsaw from the Saw movies. Very carefully, I had to use my Move controllers to like reach up and pluck the eyeballs out of Bonnie's head and put them in cleaning receptacles next to me. Again, the scale of Bonnie was quite intimidating. The lighting as well in these games. I didn't really mention the lighting before. The lighting is really cool. Very kind of like torch lit, dark backgrounds with like creepy big faces coming like at you. All the Five Nights at Freddy's games are going to be included in the 40 games in Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted. What a name. But a lot of those are games that have been made specifically for that compilation, including the one that I played next, which was Vent Maintenance. Now, it was probably the scariest of the bunch because I didn't really know what to expect. All these games were played sat down, by the way. So there's no need for comfort controls or anything. But in this one, I was sat in the middle of a vent, an open vent in front of me, going off into the darkness, a closed vent, nya, and a closed vent, nya. Now, inside the vent were buttons and levers and things, and I had to work out which ones to pull and push in a certain combination to light up lights above, which meant that the vents were being fixed. But every time you fixed a vent, another vent opened, which then again led off into the darkness. And that's where the terrifying thing comes in, because I don't know what the name of this animatronic is. It looked kind of like a pink wolf thing, but every so often it would really quietly creep down the vents at you. And in an effort to kind of come up behind you and be like, and make you shit your pants. Every time you turn to look, you have like a flashlight on your head, and every time you turn to look and light it up, it kind of like scuttles backwards, but like in a HR Giga, like alien kind of way, backwards down the vent, which honestly was one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in VR. It was like down, really, it was really scary. For me at least, Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted is going to come into its own when I'm playing the new games, because the older stuff is just a little bit old hat for me now. But, you know, I think anyone who loves horror games, and especially people who've never played the originals before, I think they're going to have a lot of fun with it. And I think streamers, YouTubers, and their fan bases are going to have a great time watching people being absolutely scared shitless by some of the jump scares. So, yeah, if you like horror games, that's one to look out for.
All right, and that's how we do it. Let's go.
Trover Saves the Universe is a game by Justin Roiland's company, Squanch Games. If you don't know who Justin Roiland is, he's one of the creators behind the TV series Rick and Morty. So if you like the kind of Rick and Morty sci-fi, gross out, swear fest, politically incorrect humour, then you're going to love Troma Trover saves the world. Trover's something completely different, but also gross out, poop-filled comedy.
Oh, there they are. Oh, I'll be taking these.
It kicks off, you see this big monster with no eyeballs steal your 2 dogs, put them in his eye sockets, so then he has 2 dogs for eyes, and that gives this monster ultra powers. Now, your character, he is a guy who is sat in a chair. He lives on a planet called Chairopia, and it is against the law to walk anywhere. Everybody in Chairopia has to sit down. So the movement of the game is kind of written into the plot, because you can play this game entirely sitting, and it is teleport to move only. Now, the Trover character is a guy who's come to help you defeat the monster. I can't remember what the monster's called, but the monster with dog eyes. Trover's there to help you beat this guy, and he does walk around on the ground, and he is the one that you will be controlling with your left thumbstick to run around and fight evil clones of the evil dog-eyed beast. You control yourself in your chair with your right thumbstick, so you snap turn with the right thumbstick, go up and down with the right thumbstick, and control Trover kind of like Astrobot, you know, so it's third person controlling around. Gameplay wise, it's your standard 3D platforming game. There's collectibles, there's melee fighting, there's upgrades, there's jumping on bounce pads and things. What sets it apart from everything else is, of course, Justin Roiland's crazy humour. The Squanch Game team have done a wonderful job. They've got like 11,000 lines of dialogue in there. And if you like the humour of Rick and Morty, the game is hilarious.
The mayor told you to get rid of those dogs.
Man, I don't have time for this bullshit. I got a sword.
You threaten me, boy? I ain't for you.
You old man.
I give
You
up.
asked
Uncle,
for this.
Uncle, please stop.
You're gonna feel this tomorrow.
I'll turn on the news. Just stop hitting me.
The character designs are funny and weird. Most of them have 2 like Trover has power babies for eyes, so if he finds a more powerful power baby than he's already got in his eyes, he pulls out one power baby, and then the fresh power baby eats the old power baby to absorb its powers, and then he puts the power baby back in its eye. It makes no sense. It's absolute nonsense, but it's good fun if you like that kind of thing. It's well made. Graphically, it's good. Oh, it's all controlled via DualShock as well. And yeah, if you like stupid games and VR platformers, you can't really, I don't think you're going to be able to go wrong with it, really. It looks like there'll be quite a big game there as well. Loads of collectibles and branching dialogue, so you can replay stuff if you want. Like at the end of the demo that I was playing, I got to choose between killing the guy who threw poop in my face or the guy who spat in my face. For reasons, I chose the spit face guy. But, you know, it's up to you. It'll be up to you when Trover saves the planet. What's it called? When Trover Saves the Universe comes out very soon. Can't remember when, but very soon. Keep an eye out. Keep 2 eyes out. Keep 2 dog eyes out. Keep 2 power baby eyes out.
Whoa.
Concrete Genie looks absolutely stunning. If you've seen any of the gameplay trailers or been following the progress of Concrete Genie, you'll probably have been drawn in by the strength of the art style. It's about a boy called Ash who's getting bullied, and he finds this magic paintbrush, and he starts painting on the walls of the town this like kind of bright neon coloured paint, and everything he paints comes to life, and it looks like a really touching, heartwarming, beautiful game. Now, the VR version of Concrete Genie is completely different to the flat version of the game, which I just described. It is 2 things. There is the experience and there is free paint. Free paint, I didn't get to have a go with, but I'm pretty sure it does what it says on the tin. You can stand and free paint whatever you want in VR on the walls. Whereas the experience takes you through a little journey guided by a little sprite that you draw. And you start off in a cave and you paint some images on the wall, and those images become a 3D world I say a world, it's more like a stage. It's kind of like a small enclosed area. You can't walk around anyway, you're rooted to the spot. But anyway, you go into this 3D world and then you can start painting actual things in the 3D world. And the art style is, again, nice and beautiful and neon, just like the game is. But the painting isn't as intricate as maybe you're imagining in your head right now. It's certainly not as intricate as I thought when I first had it explained to me. It's almost like using a paintbrush to wipe assets across the world. So, for instance, if you're making a tree, you can do like a little swooping line like that, and then the tree will go like that. It will come up like that, and then it will evolve into a tree. Branches will come off it, and it will like grow organically in this like beautiful way. And you can place trees wherever you want. Little squiggle here, little squiggle there. You can grow a forest. And then there's other things like you can place grass down, and that's more like just almost like paint rollering grass down, rather than being like truly drawing things. There's beautiful things like being able to like paint rainbows in the sky, or like doing a little squiggle at night time, and what's it called, northern lights come up and stuff. But the experience only lasts for about 40 minutes, and by the end of it I was kind of like, I knew what I'd seen and done, and it did, you know, I'm a bit of a dummy. I like dumb action things. I like shooty bangs and poop jokes, and I did start to feel a little bit tired of it near the end. It's something that I think younger VR players will enjoy more than old jaded people like me. I think people who want like a zen kind of VR experience will really enjoy it. I should say well done to the Concrete Genie people for actually bothering to include a VR section, even though it's not like a full VR conversion of the main game. The more developers that include little bits of VR here and there, the better it is for VR as a community. And if you buy Concrete Genie, you will get that VR section for free. So, you know, in between playing the main game, and if you've got a VR headset, give it a go. Do a little bit of painting and see if maybe you can channel the spirit of Bob Ross and make something really pretty.
Morning, sir. Our travel time to Shanghai is 11 hours, 15 minutes.
Told you we should have taken the faster flight.
Alrighty, on to the final game of the show, which was the most hyped, but ultimately the most disappointing, in my opinion. That game was Marvel's Iron Man VR, which, I was told by the developers, has nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all. It's its own standalone thing. So not only does the character you're playing as not sound or look like Robert Downey Jr., but neither does the character of Penny? What's the name? Hold on. It's Pepper. It's Pepper. No, neither does Pepper look like Gwyneth Paltrow and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. You think to yourself, ooh, Iron Man. He's the coolest Avenger. He is a pretty cool superhero. I wouldn't mind being Iron Man. And there are parts of this game where it's like, oh shit, I'm Iron Man. This is awesome. Like the very start where you're flying around outside Tony Stark's, cliffside mansion thing. To do that, you hold two Move controllers in your hand, and you kind of hold your arms behind you to shoot yourself forward. So you're like, his rocket are in the palm of his hand. So you hold your hands behind you, like shooting along. You can double tap it to like turbo. You can hold one a little bit higher than the other to turn. You can like hold your hands above you to like shoot downwards, or you can hold them straight down to go upwards. That kind of stuff, flying through these rock formations and through a cave. That was really cool. That was like, oh yeah, shit, I'm Iron Man. This is pretty cool. But during the combat sections, when I was up in the sky fighting these drones, there was a lot of frame rate drops. Like it really, really chugged at points. And there was a lot of loading between very short sections. If you've seen the trailer, I've probably put some of it up by now, but the trailer footage just makes it look kind of like a shooting gallery in the sky. And it is a little bit, but it's not as on rails as that trailer makes it look, but as soon as it got hectic, there was like frame rate drops and things, which I think will make people feel a little bit sick. I can't remember when Iron Man VR is due out, but it feels like the sort of VR game that is going to be overhyped and not review very well. This was just a demo. Perhaps the final finished product will be a lot more polished. You won't see those frame rate drops. Maybe Tony Stark's arms won't go as wonky as possible, but for like a high profile Marvel comic book action hero license, I just kind of expected a little bit more polish that wasn't there. Still, I think, you know, being Iron Man is worth a go, whether it's a little bit janky or not. But at the moment, I just can't help thinking that Iron Man's a little bit more like Average Man. I just thought of that one off the top of my head. That's good, that was. Average Man.
Threat neutralized.
Good. I have a plane to catch.
Alright, Cornerinos, thank you very much for checking out this episode of Ian's VR Corner. Let me know in the comments below which one of the games I featured today you're looking forward to the most. I think if I had to list my top two, it would be No Man's Sky VR and Blood and Truth. If you want to see me play any of these games, well, I don't have any footage of them, I wasn't allowed to capture, but I will definitely play them on an Ian's VR Corner in the future. So do give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe to Eurogamer for Ian's VR Corner episodes every Sunday, and do perhaps check out some of these previous Ian's VR Corner videos what are on screen now. I'm off to pretend to play some VR while you do that, so yeah, don't mind me. Get clicking them buttons. Pew! Pew! Got ya! Pew! Yeah, headshot, dickhead. Hit my mic.